some of their blocking, you might be thinking, why are they making that choice or doing something that way? Our duo group and our Readers Theater group, per South Dakota rules, had to be in separate rooms while they recorded their performance. So keep in mind that blocking was in mind being in separate rooms. And the only way they could communicate was through the device they were using to communicate. So keep that in mind as you watch. You may also, if this is one of your first times watching Oral Interp, you may see some things that stand out to you as perhaps different. Oral Interp is not necessarily acting, so you might see characters popping or melting between characters to transition or signal a new character, a new place, a new mood, things like this. So keep that in mind as well. And region performers submitted a video, so they technically have sort of already performed for regions, but that video is being submitted this weekend, and then they will be judged this coming weekend, and we'll find out the day before Thanksgiving. If anyone and who those people are, will move on then to the state round. So we are submitting 7 categories, so 7 groups from Sioux Falls Christian will compete, and we're very thankful for the work that those students have done. So as you can see on the back of your program, we'll see one right after another tonight. I'll introduce them briefly now. First off, we'll have Grace Leonard in non-original oratory, followed by Kira Koyman. She will be doing humor. Then we have an original RT, which is a Readers Theater piece written by the ladies who will perform it. Paige Hoffman, Josie Koistra, Grace Leonard, and Lauren Natwick. Then we'll have our duo by Henry and Ellie Jones. Grace Leonard again in drama. We will then see Ellie Lems in storytelling. And then finally, we'll end the evening with Paige Hoffman in poetry. And then students know, don't leave after that, we're taking a group photo, COVID style, okay? So don't leave after that. But thank you again so much for being here. To kick off our region performances this evening, Mr. Koima is going to come up and say a few words.
Hello everybody, I'm Mr. Koima, and yeah, it has been an incredible year for you guys. So just kudos to all the students for the hard work and the unbelievable challenges and uncertainty you've had to face all year long. Also, Mrs. Jones talks about firsts. So this is your first year here at Sioux Falls Christian. First year coaching Oral Interp virtually in the midst of a global pandemic. And my understanding is this is also a special day because it marks the first year wedding anniversary for Mrs. Jones. Now, but your husband's not here because he's stationed. He is deployed. He's active duty across the ocean. And so we have a special message for you from him. If you want to get your eyes on the screen, you're going to have to go.
Hey babe, I'm here in Djibouti, just about to go on a mission, but before I do, I just wanted to say happy 1-year anniversary. How exciting is this? How blessed are we that we've made it to a year in our relationship. It's super exciting, and just can't wait to get home to be able to celebrate it with you. I miss you so much. I love you. Thank you for being my wife, and thank you for supporting me so well while we've been away for the last couple months doing this whole deployment thing. You've definitely been a rock and something to look forward to come home to. So I love you. Thank you for that. And yeah, I can't wait to be home to celebrate it with you. I hope you're enjoying our anniversary and you're making the best of it. Love you.
This is your first time on stage. This is my nephew, and this is my sister, and my other nephew, and my family is now. Love you too. All right. Say great morning.
Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the gift of the spoken word. We thank you for your word and how it can speak truth into our lives. I pray, Lord, that you can just calm all of the performers now as they prepare themselves. Help them to realize that you already know the final product and that they've already put a lot of preparation into this to be ready for this moment. I pray, Lord, that they can glorify you in what they do and that we as an audience can be impacted and changed by what we see. Thank you for this day, and we give this day and this performances all to you in your glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Okay, and we will start with Grace Bonner.
Author Miles Hodges, in his book, Living by Faith, states that we're currently faced with a dualistic society that on the one hand, copies out of fear of the unknown, and on the other hand, takes risks simply for the sake of taking risks, causing meaningless and often deleterious outcomes. For example, going to the Phoenix Zoo, rubbing deer's blood all over your head, jumping into the lion's pit, kicking the lion's cub, and then saying to yourself, yeah, I'm gonna take whatever happens like a man now. Well, sure, it's innovative, but it's not a worthwhile risk. No, it's reconciling the inane with a more sane approach to risk-taking that enables us to truly embrace the risk and ultimately enjoy the payoff. We are living through a global pandemic, and one of the biggest struggles for me in the beginning was surviving speech and debate nationals getting moved from the convention center in Albuquerque, New Mexico to online in my school's boardroom. And that, along with a series of other changes in my life, led me to watching Frozen 2. Like a lot. Simplifying the world into a linear plotline where everything gets better by the credits is strangely comforting. And playing the voice of Olaf was Josh Gad, who actually got to take his original oratory to nationals in Phoenix, Arizona back in 1999. So while our world looks completely different 21 years later, one thing remains the same: the dire need to express bravery and confidence and to take a risk once in a while. Hoo-ah by Josh Gad. Dr. Frances McDavern, author of Vicarious Living, raises, a rather interesting point in her book concerning risk-taking. She states that people, get this, often don't take the ultimate risk because they're afraid of the final outcome. It's probably apparent to everyone in this room that risks are indeed scary to take, but as McDavern so eloquently states, one cannot know the final outcome until one has taken the risk. I mean, duh. This lady has a PhD. Anyway, I've often been confronted with such risky ventures where the final outcome was anything but a sure bet. You know what? I'm just gonna sit down for a second. Dude, my feet are killing me. This isn't that bad, is it? I mean, sure, it's a little unusual to do in an oratory round. And meanwhile, all the competitors are thinking, well, at least I still got a chance at getting a 1. The judge is probably thinking, is there a rule against this? Which, as far as I know, there isn't, I promise. My coach is in the back saying, I have nothing to do with it. I'm simply trying to prove a point. Albeit a small one, but a point nevertheless. See, this isn't really that big of a deal. But even this tiny little symbolic risk has quite a few people in this room feeling very uncomfortable. But who I say? And to be honest, I was getting kind of tired anyway. Now, it's crucial to understand that there's a big difference between taking a positive risk that enhances the well-being of one's life and taking a negative risk that hurts others and ultimately ruins relationships and lives. So, I've compiled a short list of positive and negative risks to hopefully help enhance your sense of judgment of what to do in certain situations. Let's see. Running frantically up to Pope John Paul II, saying, "Give me that," as you grab the big staff out of his hand, give him a high five, and then run off. Bad risk. Refusing to give your seat up on a bus, simply because of the color of your skin, knowing full well that you will be punished for doing so. Rosa Parks. That is a great risk. A man jumping onto a table, eating caviar, reciting Emily Dickinson poetry, as his fiancée shows up with the in-laws. That is a terrible risk. Spending your meager life savings on a venture that you believe in. Well, everyone you know calls you and your idea a failure. I think Walt Disney would tell you, that is a wonderful risk. I hope you understand what I'm getting at. Risks should be taken with thoughtful determination and not be carelessly detrimental to you or your interpersonal relationships. Heed the advice of actor Dean Martin, who stated, "Don't be stupid. It just wouldn't be smart enough." So far, we have seen how taking risks can lead to success in daily life. In some cases, however, taking a chance can save a life. In 1945, during the Second World War, legions of Jews that were confined to concentration camps during the Holocaust were sent on death marches. The Jews would walk hundreds of miles with no shoes and no food until they met their untimely deaths. One such Jew, a 16-year-old girl by the name of Evelyn Greenblatt, walked this death march in the winter of 1945 through Czechoslovakia. Her foot was infected, her body sore. Death seemed imminent. One day, while marching with the others, Evelyn successfully escaped the highly guarded line and hid in the forest. Consequently, she also avoided the fate of millions of other Jews, and was eventually discovered by a squadron of American soldiers from whom she received liberation. Evelyn believed in herself enough to run away from the same people that had killed the rest of her family. She did so not only to save her own life, but primarily to prove that although the Nazis had killed most of her family, they could not kill all of her family. And that although the Nazis had killed most of her people, they could not kill all of her people. And so I say, hooah. Now, this is where I say hooah to you. Each of us must make a decision on the tribulations of who to date, or what Interp piece to perform, or the more important issues of fighting prejudice, believing in your dreams, or simply running away. We all must be willing to say to ourselves that yes, you can make the decision to take a chance if it will better your life. Because remember, it is not in the taking of the risk that the solution to risk-taking is found, but rather in the opportunities that lie beyond it. The opportunities that may or may not exist, but that we should certainly never ignore. For example, the risk of doing your Interp piece at the showcase and forgetting your last line. Oh, I recently found an article on the internet that was anonymously posted, entitled, "Risk-Taking is Free," that epitomizes what taking risks is all about. The poem reads, "To love is to risk not being loved in return. To live is to risk dying. To hope is to risk despair. To try is to risk failure." Once again, the risk of this happening again. Hooah!
exciting news. The bank is being robbed. Currently, there are 3 hostages being held, tied up in rope, their mouths duct taped shut, guns pointed at their heads, and all against their will. The identity of the bank robber is still unknown, but police are on standby waiting for a list of demands. Back to you, Chief. The identity of the bank robber is still unknown, but we are on standby, waiting for a list of demands and donuts. Where's that letter? Thank you, Chief. Remember, I am Ruby Sanchez, and even though you first heard it on CNN, I tell it better, because I'm pretty. Hey, Ruby, there's something in the sky. Is it a bird?
Is it the ozone layer?
No, it is me, Remarkable Man. Fear not, local citizens, for I will conquer this fiendish foe using my remarkable powers with the help of my daughter, states the obvious girl. Okay, so when someone says superhero, one's first reaction might be Iron Man, Superman, or Wonder Woman. But you probably just toss the sidekicks off to the side, kind of like what the superheroes themselves do. States the obvious girl wants to be a superhero, like her father. But she doesn't understand that maybe her father doesn't see her as more than a sidekick, and decides to face the danger on head on herself, like a real superhero. The Adventures of States the Obvious Girl by James Sweeney.
We're related.
Okay, here's the game plan. I'm going to penetrate that back entrance and deactivate the security system so the bad guy won't know what's coming.
Can't we just use the front door?
No, that's too simple. I'm Remarkable Man. Nothing is simple.
Men are complicated. Look, a hostage. They're tied up so they can't move.
Good job. Now, where's the bad guy?
Well, we could ask one of the hostages, but their mouths are duct taped shut so they can't speak.
Very clever. Your daughter is almost as clever as you, Remarkable Man.
Look, a bad guy.
No, that's not a bad guy. It can't be. That's a woman.
Women are female.
My name is Kitty Floyd, but you can call me Ambiguous Woman.
Where'd you get that name from?
From someone I know.
Well, anyway, I'd love to stay and chat, but I have to get going. Where are you going?
Somewhere.
She is running away!
Don't follow me, or else.
Look, a bomb! If you run after Ambiguous Woman, you won't be able to defuse the bomb and the hostages will die. That's probably what she meant when she said something bad would happen.
Good job. I better defuse the bomb.
What are you doing?
There's still 10 seconds left. A good superhero always waits until there's only 1 second left.
Because it's dramatic.
Exactly.
You defused the bomb and saved our lives.
But the bad guy got away.
Don't worry, Daddy. You'll get them next time. You always do. Daddy, I just saved a kitten from a tree.
Good job.
And I helped an old lady across the street.
Good job.
And
I got an A in my history report. The Louisiana Purchase cost money. Good job.
don't you have anything else to say?
No, but I have to upgrade my email to 10 gigabytes. And that way I can log onto my Hotmail for SOS emails.
And now I have room for spam mail.
Some of them make me a lol.
Can I help?
No, just have fun. Invite a friend over.
You don't have any friends. I want to be a superhero just like you and not have any friends.
You're just my sidekick. You're allowed to have friends.
Does that mean I'm not a superhero?
Oh, I'm sure you're super to some people.
But am I super to you?
Look, you ask a lot of questions, kid. Just have fun, invite a friend over. I'll see you soon.
The phone is ringing. Hello? No Remarkable Man isn't here. Can I take the message? It's an emergency with danger. I'll be right there. Hello? Is anyone there? I wouldn't know because you're not responding. Help me! Help me! I'm coming. There's no reason to fear because Stace the Obvious Girl is here and I'm a superhero and I'll protect you from danger. So where's the
danger? Right here, sweet cheeks. Hey, that sounds like something ambiguous woman would say. You look like ambiguous woman too. I think you are ambiguous woman. Maybe. So where's the danger? You're the one in danger. That's a plot twist. Look, I'm gonna call you your father, and when he comes, well, let's just say this is going to make headlines. That foreshadows danger. You're planning to hurt my daddy. Now, I'm gonna call him now, so be quiet, or else. Or else what? What's my name again? Ambiguous woman. Oh, I get it. Operator, please connect me to Remarkable Man. Yes, I'll hold. Remarkable Man, meet me on 3rd Street in an hour if you ever want to see your precious daughter again. That was ambiguous. Quiet. Sorry. Bring all your money and come alone, or else your daughter gets it. Gets what? Gets it. I don't get it. Yes, you will get it. When will I get it? Get what? Get it! What do you want to get? I want to get it. Why would you want to get it? Because I don't get it. Shut up, you're confusing me. So when's my daddy coming? Soon. Could you be more ambiguous? Maybe. Maybe not. Are you planning to hurt my daddy? Does death hurt? You're gonna kill him? Now you get it? This is what I was gonna get? No, you're gonna get something else. Oh, I was gonna get it. Now I get it. Hey, I don't wanna get it. I don't want my daddy to get it either. You're gonna get it. You think you can take me down? Sure, you're older and you're bigger, but I'm the protagonist. The protagonists always win. Except for in tragedies. But this is a comedy. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a tragedy disguised as a comedy to ameliorate the dark resolution that no matter how hard we try, we cannot attain our goals. Maybe us having superpowers is a metaphorical representation that we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders, and that even saving the world isn't enough to get respect from the ones we love. Maybe. That was confusing. Let's start punching each other to distract us from the thoughts of ineptitude. Ha! I have overcome you, ambiguous woman, the antagonist. For this is a comedy, not a tragedy. Look, the chief is arriving just in the nick of time. You may have defeated me this time, but we'll meet again. Someday. And I'll defeat you again, evildoer, for good always triumphs over evil. You think you've won, but you haven't. That was also ambiguous. What do you mean? You think I'm the antagonist you wish to overcome, but I'm not. Then who is? Someone you know. I choose to ignore your psychological poison. The protagonist has obviously won.
You're absolutely remarkable, states the obvious girl. Ambiguous woman had plans to set the world on fire, but she needed a remarkable man out of the way. Thanks to you, your father's safe, and so is the rest of Town City. My hat's to you, but not really because I'm balding and I'm embarrassed to show it in public.
Daddy, you'll never believe what happened.
Yes, I will. I just saw it on CNN and then again from Ruby Sanchez because she's pretty and she tells the story better.
But don't you want to hear my story?
Shoot, kid.
Okay, so I got this call signaling for help, and I responded without thinking. I dashed over to assist, but it was ambiguous in disguise. She planned to use me as bait and lure you in and set the world on fire. But I unraveled her sinister plan anyway, and I was interviewed on TV, and I got a Medal of Honor, and I was nominated Best Superhero of the Month, and I had a cameo on Heroes, and I saved the world. Well, what do you think?
Good job.
Is it ever enough?
September 14, 1916. My dearest Laura, it has been only 2 months since we last saw each other, however, it feels much longer. I felt God calling me then, and I feel him now. John 15:13 is on my heart. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. Remember, no matter what happens, God will not let my life go in vain. I am at peace, and I pray we will see one another soon. Love, John.
I know you've heard many of the women from the club talking about their husbands getting injured at war. There's nothing for us here. We need to go where we are needed. It's frightening, I know. But I need to go and I need you to come with me. I can't do this alone.
That's the problem, Elizabeth. After hearing the morbid stories the soldiers write back to their families, I would prefer to stay home. We don't need to be involved in such a dangerous mess. We could be injured too, or die.
Mary, will you please consider it? My heart is heavy and I cannot watch them die. I want to go to London. Would it not be worth the risk of laying down your own life in order to save dozens more?
Father, I know you're the military attaché, and I know you want me stationed in Siberia, but I can't go. Florence is much safer, and there's injured allies there. The German prisoners don't need nurses. They're burning our cities and killing our families. And you want me to help them?
In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, we have found a huge appreciation for the doctors and nurses on the front lines.
The bravery and dedication these men and women show is truly inspirational.
Not only in a health crisis do these essential workers show commitment and love, but rather every day and in every scenario.
For example, in World War I.
The true stories of Laura Huckleberry, Elizabeth Knocker, Mary Chisholm, and Elsa Brandstrom paint a picture of life on the front lines.
This bravery is something we all strive to display, both in the face of a war and in the face of other uncertain circumstances.
The Angels of Florence.
An original artist.
Your stitches are too shallow. I know it's a lot to learn, but once you know it, everything will come naturally. Also, listen to me closely. You are a shepherd, and a wolf comes into your flock. You can sacrifice one sheep to save the rest, or you can fight for the one and lose the rest of the flock. A time will come when you must make a call to fight for the life of one man, or attend to the less serious injuries and save more men. My job is to teach you when to recognize that you need to make that decision, but it is your job to make that call.
Part of me wants to let them all die. They've killed our neighbors. But I don't think I could just watch them die.
Elsa, you are young. This is something you must understand. Just as these men are burning our cities, our men are burning theirs. They are hurting just as we are.
I understand. Your husband, in Florence, how is he?
He is well. A letter came from him yesterday.
May I hear it?
Of course. November 30th, 1917. My sweet Laura, I was right about leaving the trenches when I wrote to you in August. On the 1st of September, we are flooded out by a heavy rainfall. Had it been any colder, it would have been snow. I trust God will bring us home again. Love, John. The snow is stained red, hill after hill of nothing but red. Many men are crying out in pain, many are unable to speak at all.
I need bandages and alcohol now. Sir, tell me about your family. We need to get your mind off of the pain. Do you have any children? A son. That's wonderful. What's his name?
Michael. My son's name is Michael. He was named after my father, and his favorite color is red. He's 12. When I see some of the younger men with red blood gushing out of their uniform, I see Michael. He was the one who told me I should go to the war. My husband wrote to tell me that Michael tells all the children in his class that his mom is in the war fighting the bad guys. I understand now. The men on the hills, each one of them is somebody's Michael.
But my transfer to Florence has been approved. I leave on Thursday. I didn't want to help the Germans, but I don't hate them. I hate what they do, but I don't hate them. I've watched many men die, and before they go, they all ask the same question. They ask me to write to their families. The first time, I wanted to say no, but I said yes anyway. This war was not my decision, but the way that I respond to it is. God has put me here. He's shown me love and compassion. And until Thursday, I will continue to show love and compassion to them.
I'm transferring to Florence. They need more nurses there. Elizabeth, there are so many men there. It's horrible. I came with you to London. Please, come with me now.
But the men here. I understand that we went into this wanting to save lives, but Florence is the heart of the war. Most men who walk into those cities do not walk out. The same goes for nurses. But if it's where we are called, it's where we will go.
October 15, 1918. My beautiful Laura, I have been doing well, and I pray you have been too. There's talk of the war ending shortly. There's a treaty with Germany in the making, one that is very promising. I am beyond excited to be home with you in what is looking like just a few weeks. I have missed you more than you know. When we get home, we will settle down in a big house with a cat and lots of children, and we will be happy. God has kept me safe in Florence. I love you, Laura. Be strong. The end is near. Love, John.
Mary, I need more bandages. There are not enough supplies to tend to any of these men. I don't think there are enough to tend to half of them.
Assess the damage that has been done. If a man is bleeding from his arm or his leg, it'll take less bandages than if he's bleeding from his chest. They'll both die if you do nothing. And make the call.
This man has been shot in the leg and the chest. His body is covered in dirt and broken shards. His blood is flowing out of him like a river. It's red. His pulse is light and slow.
We have to move on. Even with all the bandages we have and the team of surgeons on the way, we cannot save him. We've done everything we can.
Oh, my word. I know that man. Well, I know his wife. She's a nurse in Siberia. John Huckleberry. He would write her letters and she would read them to me while we worked on stitches and training. She showed me their wedding pictures.
November 10, 1918. Mrs. Laura Huckleberry. I come to you with my deepest condolences. My name is Elizabeth Knocker, and my friend Mary Crisholm has been serving in Florence with me. Your husband was too.
She was with me when we found him in the snow. John had been shot in the leg twice and again in the chest. Mary and I did what we could to stop the bleeding, but a young woman who had been trained by you reminded us that there were many men in better condition than John. Elsa Bramstrom suggested I write to you. I want you to know that your husband did not die in vain. We were able to save 13 men, and over 50 were brought to the hospital. After the heat of the attack, we walked around searching for survivors. Elsa told us a verse I thought you might want to hear.
John 15:13. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends.
With love, Elizabeth Knocker.
Growing up, my sister was always kind of a jerk, like at school.
Hey everybody, Timmy's favorite movie is Pretty in Pink.
Stop it, that's not true. That's not even the best Molly Ringwald movie. The worst is when she would figure out how to crush on a girl and then go talk to her.
Timmy doesn't even having underparts. When he's naked, he looks like a Ken doll.
So now I'm building this here fort so that I can finally get away from my crazy goth. Oh, hi, Becky.
I don't know if you can tell, but we're siblings. And I'd say we get along pretty well.
No, we don't.
Well, we may have had our fair share of fights, both verbal and physical, but we always come out better in the end. It only brings us closer. Like the time I made you bleed with my fingernails, or when I chase you around the kitchen with a steak knife.
You sound like a psycho.
Hey, you've done bad things too. Besides, you've forgiven me, right?
Sure, I guess you're not the worst sister in the world. Suppose they could be crazier.
My sister, Godzilla.
By Matt Mills. Oh, come on, I was just building that.
I'll knock down every fort you ever build, you pimple stain.
That's not even a thing.
My boyfriend's coming over in about an hour to listen to Avenged Sevenfold and write poetry with me. If you're not out of here within 10 minutes, I will staple your earlobes to the ceiling fan.
So how is your day? Good?
Die, pimple boy.
I have clear skin. Why do you keep...
Hey, Timmy.
Hi, Chaz. You've got to stop breaking into my house.
Sorry, man. I'm having trouble breaking my addiction to sliding open windows. What was your sister yelling about?
Something about stapling pimples to Avenged Sevenfold or something.
That girl is whack, yo.
Please never say whack again.
Dude, you gotta get rid of her. Like I'm trying to do with my addiction to sliding open windows.
Yeah, I know, Chaz. How am I supposed to get rid of my sister, though?
I've got it. You tell her your family is moving, and then when you guys move, you give her the wrong address.
Your plan involves our family moving and then lying to my sister about where we're moving to.
Yeah, man.
Okay, stop brainstorming, you Chaz. I can think of some ways to get rid of my awful sister. Hey, I've got an idea. Maybe I should dispose of her.
Dude, don't do it. Think of the children.
She doesn't have any children, Chaz. She's 13.
Oh, right. Not bad. You can go ahead and send her to exile.
I mean, I can't actually do it right.
Timmy, she once lit you on fire and pushed you toward a gas station that was shut down due to a massive gas leak. I think she's earned it.
But how would I even do it? She's bigger and stronger than me, thanks to stupid puberty. How do I get rid of her?
Well, I think...
I should use her idiosyncrasies against her and poison her black nail polish so that it slowly seeps into her bloodstream, causing a painless yet convincingly untraceable death. Is that what you were going to say?
I was going to say we should order some pizza.
Right, pizza. I'll do that other thing in a second.
I thought I told you to scram.
Oh, Becky, what a decade-appropriate use of the word scram. I was just bringing you this black nail polish, your favorite. I thought your boyfriend might want to put the applicator in his gauge piercing and paint your toenails the color of despair.
Thanks. Now scram.
You got it. Love my big sis. Definitely not trying to poison her.
Do you think she bought it?
I don't know. It'll probably take a while to...
Dude, what was that?
Nickelback. Holy cow, she's huge.
I'm just big boned.
Oh no, something must have been off in my mix.
You just created a 50-meter tall 13-year-old goth girl.
Who uses meters?
I do. Sheep, sheep, you're all sheep. Bah, bah, bah.
Let's get out of here before she starts shooting eyeliner at us.
Good evening, Woodbury, Pinkleton, Field, Smith Township. Frightened citizens and beardless onlookers alike have been shocked at this beautiful municipality that has been devastated by a 150 feet tall goth chick. Police and fire crews have arrived to try and calm the raging hormones, in hopes of saving the town, or at very least getting some pictures and souvenirs. Dude, they're totally going to. Your sister's destroying the whole town. This is worse than when everyone got food poisoning and died from that sushi/hot dog restaurant.
I know, and it's all my fault, just like when I opened that sushi/hot dog restaurant. But check this out. I made this antidote, and it should shrink her down to her normal size.
Did you make a laser from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? Please tell me it's a laser.
Sorry, watch this. Hey, Becky, take this. It'll make you small again.
You made me an antidote?
Yeah, I'm sorry I tried to poison your black nail polish, but it accidentally turned you into a Godzilla-like monster. I guess when I put it that way, not much changed, but...
Timmy!
I'm kidding. Just take the antidote and this will all be over with.
Yeah, okay, I'll take it.
Really?
Psych!
Oh my
armed with tanks, helicopters, fighter jets, soldiers, funny hats with feathers on them, to put this gothic beast of a girl to rest.
What? No.
Dude, they're totally gonna nuke your sis, bro.
Shouldn't you be off eating Doritos somewhere?
One step ahead of you two.
General, please, you can't do this. She's my sister.
Too late, son. That girl is a menace to society. She reminds me of my neighbor's daughter. Foul creature she is. Did you know there's a band called My Chemical Romance? I mean, that makes no sense. How can basic elements fall in love? They broke up!
Please, sir. Look, this is all my fault. She's just a kid who doesn't fit in. Don't you ever feel that way? I know I did. She just deals with it by picking on those around her. We all have our coping mechanisms. I build forts, you play with guns.
I
Jazz with Doritos.
I murder my neighbor's garden gnomes, reporting live from the scene. I listen to My Chemical Romance! I understand that now. She's just the same as all of us. She's just really annoying about it. Okay, Timmy, don't screw this up.
I won't, sir.
All right, America, time to go home. Timmy's got this under control.
Yes, I felt pretty bad about trying to kill my sister, then accidentally turning her into a gigantic monster. But finding out that we actually have a lot in common made everything worth it. Now we hang out all the time. In my backyard, of course, since she's so huge.
Timmy, bring me Edward Scissorhands and some mini pizzas shaped like footballs.
I really do love my sister Godzilla.
Reflect who I am. The peasant, the orphan, the dreamer. I see them in the constant struggle between the girl I was and the legend I have become. Who is Coco Chanel? Born into poverty, Gabrielle Chanel nurtured her exceptional sewing skills and willingness to combat societal norms into an empire that is thriving 40 years after her death. From the invention and popularization of the women's suit to hiding Jews during World War II, Chanel became an icon who would inspire millions for decades to come, while creating one of the most recognizable brands in the world. Mademoiselle Chanel by C.W. Gordon. The day Maman died, I was lining up my dolls in the cemetery. The cemetery was my haven, a patch for the dead on the edge of the village where my mother would take me and my siblings after Papa left us. 3 days later, my sisters and I were picked up by a man in a hat and taken to Osborne, an orphanage. I was miserable in those first few weeks. I missed Maman. But as the weeks turned to months, Osborne became my home. And Maman had taught me how to sew, and the nuns helped me to practice in my free time. I made dresses and coats for the younger girls there. Shortly before my 18th birthday, I was told that my father's sister wanted to place me in the convent of Notre Dame with my cousin, Adrienne. Adrienne was my mirror image, and she acted as if we had known each other our entire lives. In 1903, Adrienne and I turned 20 and we were released from the convent. The nuns put their heads together and they found us a position at a clothing store in Vichy. Vichy was the first city I had ever seen. There was a group of young men lounging outside the cafe, and one of them appeared to be staring at me. I go to payday pittance of a wage, and so we had to find extra income. I suggested auditioning at La Rotande, a coffee house, to sing. And on the night of our debut, I was so nervous. But I launched into my rendition of Que Poivre Coco. And at the conclusion of the night, I had made quite a sum. I spent my money on hats and trimming supplies. My hats had simple stones to offset the hat's shape without covering it up. And I sold them for 10 francs. I profited very slowly, but many loved my hats. One day, a boy asked me to come to Paris with him. How could I describe those first few months? I had become a resident of the city I had yearned to see all my life. I wanted to open a shop for my hats, and Boy wanted to help me. He offered an apartment to use until I could find a more suitable location. I asked Adrien to help me manage the shop, and business steadily grew. Many became disappointed. I sold nothing but hats, and so in the summer of 1913, I started designing clothing. But by the summer of 1914, Europe was up in flames. A boy had been drafted, and the news had been ominous with Austria's declaration of war. Boy told me not to close the store, and business was better than I had expected, though it wasn't good. I had been waiting to hear from Boy for many months when Adrien came to the door. She said, "Coco, there has been an accident. Boy, there was a fire. I asked his mother if I could go to the scene of the accident. And I sat there for an eternity. And it was so quiet. This beautiful automobile, the car that we would speed around Paris in, was a carbonized ruin. The war was over. He had been coming home to me. Capel and Coco, the sea and the sea. I would revert the positions, independent, yet interlocked. In times this would become my emblem. It was how I would honor him. Time passed, but it did not heal my wounds. I put all my grief into my work, and as a result, the 1920s became known as the decade of my success. I developed a perfume and sold it in square-cut, elegant glass bottles with my CC logo on the lid. And Chanel No. 5 was an instant success. A black became staple in my collections, and the fashion journalists went wild. And it had been a risk, the black during the day, but to the brave, the kingdom, my kingdom. I bought a property for 1.8 million francs, and the villa was finished in 1935. I believed I finally had a place to settle after everything, with or without Boy. Instead, the Germans were coming to France, and they were everywhere. They had taken over Parliament and the hotel above one of my stores. One of them told me I needed a permit to get into my own store. By 1914, 1942. The persecution of the French Jews had only gotten worse, and I agreed to help a few of my friends, and I hid them at La Pausa. And the Germans had told us that we needed to keep our businesses open. And I could not comply with them. And so I made the decision that it would be 35 years before I would design another dress. And I had to leave Paris to avoid the repercussions. And as I left that day, it was snowing, and the snow was falling on the awning of my first door, bearing a name so coveted and extraordinary. I knew I would be back one day.
Sometimes it even saves a day. Crispin, on the other hand, has a hard time fitting in. Because of his special abilities, he learns lots of ups and downs at, oh wait, I'm not gonna spoil it, Not Your Typical Dragon by Dan Burrell. The next day, Crispin sat among his family and friends as a big cake was brought to the table. Who will light the birthday candles? Asked his mother. I will, declared Crispin. He could feel it tingling in his tummy, but when he opened his mouth, fire did not come out. Whipped cream came out. The little dragon was whisked off to the doctor the very next day. Please fix my son, demanded Crispin's father. What seems to be the problem? Asked the doctor. Crispin opened his mouth, but fire did not come out. Band-aids came out. I see, said the doctor. The doctor sent Crispin home with medicine. He swallowed 2 teaspoons before going to school. After school, Crispin joined his first fire-breathing practice. One by one, little dragons aimed their fiery breath at logs until they burst into flames. Crispin stepped up confidently. He could feel the medicine bubbling in his belly, but when he opened his mouth, fire did not come out. Marshmallows came out. Dragons breathe fire, yelled the coach, so he ran away from home. Crispin found a dark cave. I'll be a fireless dragon all by myself. I won't bother anyone, and no one will bother me. An hour later, he had a visitor. I'm Sir George, squeaked the thin, shiny knight. Show yourself, dragon! Crispin shuffled out of the cave, but the thin, shiny knight held up his thin, shiny sword. Do your worst, dragon! Crispin opened his mouth, but fire did not come out. Salt bubbles came out. Don't you breathe fire, dragon? Crispin shook his head. I can't. Sir George moaned. But my father insists that I fight a fire-breathing dragon. I'm not your typical dragon, Crispin explained. Sir George sighed. I can't go home. Me neither, Crispin nodded. Secretly, Sir George was glad that Crispin couldn't breathe fire. He liked the little dragon and didn't want to fight him. Crispin liked the Shining Knight too, but he missed his parents. Sir George, it's getting dark. I want to go home. The knight patted him on the back. Don't worry, little dragon. I will take you. Crispin's parents were relieved when he arrived home. Sir George was about to say goodbye when he heard a shout. There you are, boy! Why on earth are you playing with the fire-breathing dragon? He's my friend, father, whispered Sir George. And besides, he doesn't breathe fire. A dragon that doesn't breathe fire? That's the silliest thing I've ever heard! The shiny man laughed. Crispin's father stormed out of the house. My son is not silly. He let out a powerful spray of flames, but the flames scorched They all knew how to start fires, but no one knew how to stop them. Suddenly, Crispin felt the tingling in his tummy. He opened his mouth, but fire did not come out. A gush of water came out. He aimed the water at his father's flames. He saved his home. Your son? Said an old uncle to Crispin's father. He's not your typical dragon, is he? No, replied Crispin's father. My son is something special.
And as you fell, you begged the air for just a little more time, for a second chance to do all the things you'd always meant to do. So, here it is. High school. A time filled with difficult classes, standardized tests, new friendships, first relationships, first heartbreaks, and terrible fashion trends. These 4 years are quite the roller coaster. But every new adventure shapes us and allows us to become a better version of ourselves. Frederick Douglass had the right idea in saying if there is no struggle, then there is no progress. In poems by R.H. Sim, Raina Biddy, and Ian S. Thomas, we see the difficulties of growing into your own skin. Growing Pains, a poetry collection. No more letting people in this way, no more worrying, and no more late night cries. And yet, when you get here, you are not given instructions. No one tells you that heart A is meant to slot into heart B. There are no diagrams about how you are to live each day or directions about how to assemble some semblance of happiness. You are not even told what colors to paint your feelings or given a reason or a purpose for your life. You have to make all of it up. You have to make all of it yourself. It is okay to be in your natural state. When your heart is made of roots that birth daisies, it is okay to be underweight when your soul feeds oxygen through tubes of love-scented lilies. It is okay to talk all day about the kind of love you dreamed of before given the chance to bloom. It is okay to be insecure. It is common to be under-nurtured. Often we over-nourish others and end up in drought. But you are a dozen roses and a field of hope. You are every sweet kiss before they convince you that you aren't worth watering. Be strong. I was willing to give up part of me for you. I was willing to compromise my dreams for you. I was ready to be the person that you needed. Most importantly, if you can at all avoid it, don't be normal. Drive, burn, and do everything you can to avoid being the industry standard, even the highest industry standard. Be greater than anything anyone has ever dreamed of you. Don't settle for pats on the back, salary increases, a nod, and a smile. Instead, rage against the tepidness of the mundane with every fiber of whatever makes you, you. Be educated. I talked to my grandmother this morning. Well, she asked me for the princess she remembered raising when. She asked me how I could be good for anyone else if I wasn't good for me. She asked me if I was looking for kings who were looking for queens. And if somewhere along the way, I lost myself. So, they all miss me. No more lies, no more lying to myself, no more trying to be the best me for people who don't really see me. I'm starting to find myself, and while picking up the pieces to my unfinished puzzle, I'm realizing that you were never really meant to fit in the picture. No more ignoring all the signs that were given. God has a funny way of putting the fiercest fire in our souls just to see the breakdown during our empties alone, just to see the breakthrough once we love ourselves back to full. Life has a way of showing us ourselves through many bruises. But here's a reminder. Every night, you found a way to shine brighter than the last. Your spirit leaks wonders and your energy uplifts the masses. Be opinionated. I wish someone would have told me that I'd be okay. I wish someone would have helped me pick my head up and showed me what life could be. I wish my teachers would have encouraged me to follow my dreams instead of studying for my SATs. I wish I could speak to the younger me and apologize for all the hurt and confusion that I put me through. But look what I made of me. I wish little me could see. I can't keep from smiling. Through every struggle, I learned to find that I am far more powerful than anything formed against me. I just wish someone would have told me. Sometimes your heart will hurt. Sometimes your smile will ache. Sometimes your light will dim. Sometimes your spirit will break. Sometimes your entire world will come crashing down with no warnings and no signs, but no matter how destroyed you feel, you have to be willing to dig deep inside yourself to find some ambition to get you back right. Be independent. You will only offend the weak. You will only frighten the closed-minded, and you will never be appreciated by those who don't deserve your presence, and that's completely fine. You have to let go. Nothing about losing what's familiar feels good, but uncomfortable places can be beautiful. Growth is beautiful. You have to let go because nothing worth holding on to will ever destroy you. No matter how bad or how much it hurts. Let go. I was never meant to save myself from hurting. I was only ever meant to grow from it. I was only ever meant to build and create within it. I was only ever meant to spread love and to be loved. I refuse to give up on me. I refuse to give up on everything and everyone meant for me. Because life is about building and loving and trusting that the sun will come out tomorrow, or eventually. Happiness is coming soon. I promise. And this is a little more time, and this is your second chance, and it starts now.
Okay, once again, thank you so much for being here. We can have a round of applause to wish our regional students. I'm told the best way I think to do this is if we have one line up here standing, perhaps one sitting at the front of the stage, and then we'll go from there.